G'day everyone, Paul here from Hobstar Computing Solutions, and welcome to the very first episode of Tech Teardowns, where today we are assisted by the lovely Abby. She was a cat that we actually got during the very start of the COVID lockdown, so I sometimes refer to her as our COVID kitty. And as you can see, she's going to be an incredibly helpful cat. I decided to make this video series when I had the idea of fixing client computers, which I do quite often now, and I figured that I could actually record what it was I was doing and be able to produce that into videos, of course with client permissions. The thing that we're going to be doing today, as we'll find out, is actually opening up a hard drive from a computer that had completely failed. And the purpose is not to repair this hard drive. I've already just found it quite interesting to repair and pull apart things as well, to see how they work and find out what's inside. Here we are, just doing the preliminary cat test first to make sure that the cat's working fine. She's still a little bit malfunctioning, but she'll come good. I'm sure there's no problems in the future for me here. Just a little nibble, that's fine. So here's the hard drive in question. It's a 1 terabyte Seagate. Got to make sure that the lenses of the camera is nice and clean. For my birthday just recently, I got a very nice iFixit toolkit, ifixit.com. You should definitely check them out. They're not sponsored of this video. However, I do highly recommend their toolkits. It's a nice little comprehensive one here, as Abby is about to discover. I actually made the mistake of not doing a unboxing video for it, so I might do a little extra video about it and just sort of explain the different components. We have this lovely roll that it comes with, very heavy duty. There's lots of magnets involved, so things clip together quite nicely. And it has a lot of little bits in there for opening up things that you wouldn't normally have access to, different shapes and different sizes, and some things for some very small components as well. Very useful when fixing computers. As you can see here, Abby is now fishing for I don't know what under there. Cannot even get her attention. She's very fixated. What are you doing? Here I am trying to work out which bit to use. The only problem is having so many bits, sometimes you have to go through and try a few different ones to find the one that fits. 3 times speed for the boring parts. Yeah, sometimes they spend a bit of time to actually do these things, but I find it quite relaxing as well. Here we have Abby causing some trouble, knocking down my little mouse mat in the background there. I didn't even notice till much later. I'm going to be working with different camera angles in the future. I was sort of trying this out to see how well it would work, and I'm quite happy with the end result. This actually also encourages me to try and keep this computer area clear. This part here, I'm actually looking for tape along the side, which I am not seeing, which I thought was quite interesting. A lot of the other hard drives I've worked with have a metallic tape around the outside, which provides a vacuum seal. These hard drives are all vacuum sealed to keep out any dust from the working parts. And as we get further into it, we'll be able to see sort of what's inside one of these hard drives. And yeah, if any sort of dust or foreign contaminants get in, it can actually absolutely wreck the functionality of the hard drive. I do have a little story about a laptop hard drive, which this is not. This is for a desktop computer. Laptop hard drives are much smaller. The story goes that one of my clients said that they had plugged in their external hard drive and nothing had happened. There was no sound, the computer didn't recognize it. Here we go, we've got a few tools there on screen. Just got to find all the little hidden screws. And I plugged in the hard drive and found their statement to be true. Nothing happened. I actually put my ear to the little hard drive and could hear a weird kind of clicking, buzzing noise. And I looked it up, and it turned out what had happened is the actuator arm, which we'll be able to see once I get this one open, had locked in place, which means that it won't be able to read or write any data. The problem was this hard drive contained all of the this client's files, all their pictures and videos, and they were a bit stressed. And I said, well, there's a couple of options here. Also, just here, I think I'm finding more screw holes. A few options here. You can take it to a data recovery place, which will charge you a couple of $100 to get inside the door, and then a few more $100 per megabyte, whatever they can, or per terabyte, whatever they can manage to recover. She said she didn't have the money to be able to do that, which is fair enough, and the solution was I opened it up, much in the same way that I'm doing here, and I was able to free the actuator arm, close it up again, and basically at that point it was a ticking time bomb. The hard drive will fail, not long after doing that to it, but I was able to actually get all of her pictures, and then all of her videos, and all of her music off and everything, and it was a great relief. Yeah, I only just noticed now that Abby knocked down my mouse mat. There we go. What I'm doing here is I'm now actually prying off the cover for this one. This is breaking the seal, that little vacuum hermetic seal. Once again, I'm looking for the tape, not finding any. And going along with my little pry tools. The kit also comes with quite a few different sizes and shapes. Some nice little tweezers there as well. And this slightly more industrial pry bars as well. Normally I would probably hold this against my body to do, but trying to do it for the camera. Here we go. I think we're about to get the final bit of the seal broken. There we go. And I think at this point I'm working out that there must still be at least one more screw that I'm missing, because it's not coming off. Try and get as much of it off as I can. Once again, this is not something that I recommend doing, particularly if you want to keep any of the data on the hard drive. I think there's one single foil pouch there that I didn't break. Yep, there it is, that one. And now I'm going to have to remove that as well. We can now see the actual platters inside, and the platters on these hard drives are aluminium coated ceramic, I believe. It's a very interesting looking material. They're incredibly reflective, and as soon as you sort of touch them, you put fingerprints all over them. And they're obviously at this point, this hard drive is, if it wasn't already completely ruined. Some of these screws are really quite stiff and hard to get off. There we go, and you can see just how reflective it is here, as you see the camera and some in the background in my house as well. And there's more screws there on the spindle. I'm going to try and get those off as well. There's the actuator arm that I was talking about, and that basically moves across the platter there, and that's what actually does the reading and the writing. In there's some very strong magnets. They're like rare earth magnets, which is kind of funny because they always tell you to keep your magnets away from your computers, which is true. Please do that. But in the case of a hard drive, they're encased in such a way that it doesn't affect the data in there. The actual back of those things don't seem to be conductive at all, and I don't know the science behind that. Here we are from a different angle now. Yeah, it is a 1 terabyte, so most likely just a single platter in there, but it's a little hard to see. I think it's a 1 or 2. I'm trying to have a good look at what size screws we're using here. Yep, there's several all the way around the central part there. And then there's a few more screws in there. I'm trying to get the magnet off. They actually make really good fridge magnets. They're quite strong. I'm just pointing out the rest of the screws. And these ones are really stiff. What's interesting is after I get all these central ones off, I still can't actually end up getting the platter out. Although I remove all these little screws, there's no screw in the middle. And I even had my wife had a crack at it with the drill with various drill bits, and she also could not crack whatever it is. So I might have to come back later on and see if I can actually get the platters out, because they make interesting things to hang up or to demonstrate with. So I'm gonna have to see what I can do about that. Yeah, tweezers definitely make for removing the screws quite easy. Sometimes it seems to magnetize, sometimes they're not. I guess maybe those ones are non-ferrous screws, so they can't be, don't need to be magnetized, or you wouldn't want them to be. Here we go. Break the seal on the magnet, so to speak. You can see it's grabbing onto everything. There we go. That's the rare earth magnet right there. It's interesting, you can see that side grips quite well. Changing over bits to something more appropriately sized. This is the part I think that surprised me most, was after I got all these off, I'm like, but then the whole thing doesn't come off. That does. And then there's another bit. That's the actuator arm. And it would plug into, a part on the outside of it. See tiny little heads on there, already damaged from my fat fingers fumbling around with it. And this is where I'm trying to work out, how do I get this out? And once again, you can see just how reflective it is. Alright, well, I might as well take out the other magnet. And very carefully put them together. Thumbs up there. Okay, I was thinking maybe there's something in there that I could undo, but that's not actually a sticky label. And I will try and continue to see if I can work out how to get that off. The magnets now live up here for now, safely away from other computer components and ready to be put into action. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I hope you look forward to the next one where I'm going to be actually pulling apart some actual working computers and showing you how to fix and repair those.